I didn't even ask if I sound okay.
Yeah, you sound great.
Awesome. So there was a ton of AI news this week.
Wow, was there ever?
We're only going to scratch the surface on I think we only got one AI topic, honestly. Two actually.
No, we got two.
Um,
Yeah,
three technically if you count the power stuff. Um,
yeah.
but like you were talking about, Perplexity just launched their app. Anthropic just launched new models, like upgraded versions of Claude and all that stuff.
Oh, their
Um,
naming is dumb though, but yeah,
Microsoft just a big thing on, hey, look how Copilot's now integrated into everything. Did you see that?
yeah.
Um, Stable Diffusion just released version 3.5, new image model, which looks
Oh
amazing.
well,
So,
yeah. Everything's AI now. Well, machine learning, but AI. Yeah,
yeah, so it's news, 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 news. And, we're talking about, yeah, it's crazy how these things are exploding every day.
yeah. I
And
like. There's a couple people I follow on TikTok, who talk about the new releases and things like that. This one guy, I've shared a few videos with you. He's great. He helps me to stay on top of things. But Jesus, and we didn't even talk about Nematron. Nvidia's
yeah,
that's another one.
we actually talked about it briefly at the beginning of last week.
That's right, we did. Yeah,
I just couldn't remember it was Nematron. I think I called it Newton, Newman or something like that.
I think I have access to it. Like,
Everybody
oh,
does. I sent you the links where to play with it and stuff,
oh, okay,
because I was having some fun with it, and I was explaining how um, it has less of the guardrails that some of those other things have. You can even ask it
oh, okay,
to humanize your content to pass AI detectors and stuff, and it'll do an okay job of that.
okay. Interesting.
Like, it takes it from 100% down to about 50%, as an
Yeah,
example, when you throw it in the AI detectors, which is pretty damn good. There's
yeah.
other things and other prompts you can do to help with that.
Oh, okay.
So everybody is leapfrogging and talking about different stuff. I'm seeing all sorts of new video models, new voice models coming out. It's
It's
pretty insane.
endless.
Yeah.
It is the Wild West.
Agreed. So before we get into our news, what was your favorite news of the week?
I think so. Favorite as far as scariest would be what we're talking about today is how Anthropic can control your computer. Um, like it's cool because I like it because there's a few things, and we'll get into that. But I would say that was my favorite news of the week, other than Perplexity launching their app on Mac OS, which if you know me, I my two favorites are Claude and from Anthropic, and well, we'll have to see after this new thing that they release, but and Perplexity AI. So, what was your favorite news?
Well, I think the computer use that we're going to talk about, and I'm interested in all the new graphic stuff. So I was just
Yeah.
honestly trying to get us to talk about stuff while I got another document open, because it was forcing me to relog in.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
like, geez,
Um, I did. So I did send you quite a few. I know I sent you a lot of links in the last
yeah,
couple of days,
yeah.
but it is because a lot of those are to help with the video editing and the video, like generating content and things like that. So I don't know if you went through them all, but
Honestly, I haven't gone through any of them. I flagged
okay.
them. I'm going to go through them when I have like a half hour, an hour to go look at them all, because I know these aren't just the one-off jokey things. These are things I have to think about and maybe go to the
For
website
sure.
and get that tool. And
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, so let's jump into this first one. Amazon go and Google both go nuclear. So what do you think is going on here?
Yeah. So they're following strides with Microsoft, obviously, and they're seeing the benefit of nuclear power, especially small nuclear reactors or SMRs. So again, they partner with Kairos, which I think Microsoft did as well. I could be wrong. or maybe I'm just mixing up everything because there's so much news. But I know Google's partnered with Kairos to develop a series of advanced nuclear reactor plants. But I think this is so. Until you and I had the conversation, because I haven't looked into the new nuclear technology as far as nuclear fission, but apparently there's no more um, byproduct. So
It
I'm all for this.
It depends on the technology they're implementing. I can't say that that's what they're implementing in all of these.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but there's technology where it eats its own output. Whatever waste gets just put back in and reused.
Yeah.
So so this is interesting. So the difference is Microsoft is they're restarting the reactor at 3 Mile Island so they can buy power from there. I can't remember the name of the company, but hopefully we'll discover it as we go here. But these people are buying those portable nuclear reactors that they're going to have on site, I guess, near their data centers.
Yeah.
And this is similar to the ones we talked about, and we did a little bit of a deep dive where Elon Musk's ex-engineer was developing those mobile nuclear reactors.
Yeah.
Not
was it the same company?
No,
or was it a different company? Okay.
I think they were called Radiant.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So
so I was wrong though. It's Amazon and Google aren't using both Kairos. Amazon's using Dominion Energy and X Energy.
Yeah, I have a good article over here on TorontoStars.com, surprisingly enough. And basically they're talking about the different energy demands, right? And how we're breaking, the International Energy Agency forecasts that data centers' total electricity consumption could reach more than 1,000 terawatt hours in 2026, more than doubling from 2022.
That's crazy.
And to keep that in mind, a 1 terawatt can power 70,000 homes. So we're talking about 7 million homes. What's 1,000 times 70,000?
Oh, it's too early for me to do math.
I know. I'm only on my first coffee here. So nonetheless, big number, right? So they're trying to get to their clean energy goals, and they've been trying to use wind and solar, but they're not there where they need to be.
Yeah.
So so nuclear power seems to be the next breakthrough for zero emissions. They seem to have cleared the way because all these, Microsoft made their announcement. Now we got Google and Amazon. We're going to see a bunch more, I'm sure, after this, because a long term, it's probably cheaper than paying for the energy, right? Because
and I'm guessing they can sell back the excess energy back to the power grid too when they're not using it.
So Amazon is using X Energy. I think that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
And Google is using Kairos Power.
Yeah.
So all that information is here on that article in TorontoStarts.com. And so they're using small nuclear reactors where Microsoft is planning on a regular size nuclear reactor for whatever that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're also exploring these smaller nuclear reactors as well. They just haven't maybe made an announcement yet.
Absolutely, because they've got data centers all over the place. Exactly. Why would you assume that they're just going to be stuck with the one? So, this is interesting. You were the one who's always been worried about, nuclear material disappearing and what are the security, and like this isn't going to happen. And yet here we are, right? And it's happening.
Yeah.
They're planning to having these live by 2030.
2030, which is crazy, which is awesome. But I'm always concerned that nefarious people could create dirty bombs with the materials, and the more reactors you have, even small ones, the more access people have to materials, the easier the access. That's just me being paranoid, but it's the paranoid that survive. But yeah.
And it's funny, Microsoft has partnered with the 3 Mile Island Project. So that's what it's called. the
Interesting.
company they're working with versus
Okay.
X Energy and whatnot. That's why I couldn't think of the name.
Because it is the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that they're doing this, and I'm curious to see whose strategy is going to work the most. What happens when we start taking these things off the grid? But my other concern is we starting to see more and more and more as we need more power. Like for the first time, I'm thinking, wow, maybe I should have went with the MacBook Pro because I want the faster processors, the more GPUs to power AI. I really
Mhm.
wasn't into it at this point, but I think we're going to see more and more people doing that. So is this going to be offset by the amount of power people are using at home going up or the people using at regular size offices?
I don't know. The one thing I was thinking about this morning was incandescent light bulbs. They used a crap load of power, right?
Yep.
Now we've moved to LEDs, which barely use any power. So that's one thing I was thinking of as far as power drain, especially because they're implementing them in streetlights and everywhere. Um, so there's a huge power consumption that's kind of disappeared or has diminished, right? But when we're talking computing power, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be. I don't think there's a huge um, diminish with people's laptops and things like that. But who knows?
Yeah. So I don't think our power usages have ever gone down.
No. Oh no. I think it's
So, we're
yeah,
like we're having trouble with grids at certain times when
yeah.
it's a heat wave, for
Gone up.
example.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do we do in the situation? Are these going to just become more popular? When I say that, I mean I've been proponent. One of our first episodes, we talk about backyard nukes. Like, when are we going to have
Yeah.
cities say, you know what, we're going to just buy our own, or um, it just becomes free reign? Like this seems like it
Yeah.
is becoming free reign.
Neighborhoods have their own micro reactor or mini reactor that powers the whole neighborhood
Yeah.
instead of in the backyard.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can fit it in your backyard. Is the concept of a backyard nuke? Not,
For sure. Yeah.
these things can power 800 homes or 1,000 homes or 8,000 homes, depending on. I can't remember when we went back to look at
Yeah.
radiant. Um, um, but they're saying that demand for AI is going to be over 1,000 terawatts, and so you got to sit back and say this looks like the future for energy, and if it's going to be acceptable at the company level, you're going to imagine that governments are going to be building big nuclear plants again.
Yeah. For sure. And then don't even get us started on nuclear fusion, right?
Yeah, and what
Like,
you know, that's a whole different kettle of fish, honestly.
yeah. So for those of you, nuclear fusion is when you fuse two, is it atoms together?
Yes.
Uh, yeah.
Is it Adams? Yeah.
Whereas fission is you're breaking apart atoms, and that's what the current technology is, which is nuclear fission, and that's been around for many many years. Fusion is the essentially what they call holy grail of power, and that's essentially that's the power that the sun generates. Essentially,
So you ready to jump to this next one?
absolutely.
All right. So this next one we're talking about, we've been talking about this for a while. We had a 2 or 3 episodes, but it's finally happening. Air
Mhm.
taxis have been approved by the FAA to start flights in 2025.
Yeah, this came out of left field, completely out of by surprise. But I think it's because, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we've done so much and I've read so much. Did Europe approve air taxis? Did we cover something about that?
Well, we know they were applying for approval. I don't remember them being fully approved. I think
Okay,
they were expecting approval by
okay.
2030.
I'm surprised that the FAA is ahead of Europe on this, if anything. Maybe
But
we
we
missed
can
it.
Google that while we're chatting here.
For sure, yeah. So this is really cool because this is a huge step to eVTOLs, which is what they're calling them. Um, to be able to fly and offer services. I know there's a lot of companies who have developed this technology, like Joby Aviation, Archer Aviation. What was the one that we were talking? There was anyways, there was another one that's more well known. So yeah, so this is cool because now this is a viable potential form of mode of transportation going forward, starting next year.
So
Uh,
in June of 2022, the European Union Aviation Safety Agency published rules for the operation of air taxis in cities. So it's
okay,
the first comprehensive proposal, but I don't think they've approved anything yet.
okay. So they haven't created what the FAA has done by creating like what did they do? They passed a bunch of rules, or they passed a rule that kind of and a certification and a what's the word I'm looking for, definition. I think so.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
So
So
they defined it. So they're paving the way for this to happen.
yeah.
It seems like when I'm looking at this that they have approved electric jets and a couple other things, but I don't think, and they've released the new certification criteria for air taxis, but I don't know if and they proposed rules. So yeah, I don't know if there's actually anything approved yet.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, but like we obviously need the infrastructure. We need the vertiports and charging stations, and like there's going to be a lot of significant investment into the infrastructure. The other thing is the public acceptance, which I don't think is going to be a challenge too much. I don't know about you, but um, it's essentially, to me, it's like a helicopter. Like you're taking off vertically and you're landing vertically. Um, so I think just maybe because of the newer technology, there might be a little bit of hesitation, but I don't think that that's going to be a hurdle. I don't know about you.
I'm not sure if that's going to be a hurdle too, especially in the EU. Like we've talked about this before, and as I'm jumping around here, so to make sure we have the right
Yeah.
information. So this, back in November 23, they're talking about the flying taxi company gets approval, EU for electric jets. So these are electric, like basically, what do you call it? Vertical lift.
eVTOLs?
Um, well, you call it the same thing as a helicopter taking off.
Yeah.
But they're delivering these expect is plans to purchase 10 of its electric jets and become an exclusive dealer. The deliveries are expected to start in 2026 with the customers with a maintenance program, pilot, and training and 2 charging stations. So that all comes with the jets. So, but there's expected delivery in 2026 in the EU. So that's the earliest
Okay.
we've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, and what I was reading was or not here, but in the US, United Airlines is planning to launch a route in the US between Manhattan and Newark Liberty International by 2025. So that's their big plan there.
Yeah, and so the eVTOL technology has been revolutionized the aviation industry, largely driven by Archer Aviation and Joby Aviation.
Yeah, we covered something about Joby Aviation once.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's what you're talking about. So, the development of air taxi has been underway for years, but in 20 now, the FAA have finally certified several air taxi models, including Archer, Midnight, and Joby's eVTOL, allowing them to operate as an on-demand passenger flight starting in 2025.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, Joby, Archer, and Lilium, they're all backed by aerospace giants like Boeing and Airbus. So they're not just these off the like these little startups that don't really have any backing. Like they've got clout.
So key players driving this revolution include United Airlines and Delta, which they plan to integrate air taxis into existing travel infrastructure. Like you mentioned,
Mhm.
United Airlines, for instance, plans to launch air taxi routes in 2025, offering 10 to 20-minute flights from city centers to airports like Newark, Liberty International, and Chicago
Mhm.
O'Hare. The goal to turn what used to be an hour-long commute into a seamless, quick, emission-free flight.
Yeah, and this would make sense for Toronto too. Eliminating the Up Express, you go from Union to the airport, right?
Yep.
But yeah, or even like Toronto to Ottawa would be a great path too. But I don't know if they can handle that long flight yet. But yeah,
So Archer Aviation apparently is at one of the ones at the forefront, as I mentioned, and they've secured over $1 billion in orders for its
wow,
EVTOL. EVTOL. How do you say that? EVTOL?
eVTOL.
EVTOL. Got it. So
It
how will
stands so it stands for electric vertical takeoff and landing.
yeah, I don't know how to
I,
when they put the acronym together like that. I'm like,
I
what?
know.
uh,
Yeah.
I so this is a game changer for Metropolitan. By the way, this article we're looking at is on torontostarts.com. Go check it out. These air taxis will use vertiports, specialized hubs often located on rooftops or repurposing parking structures to quickly recharge between trips. So this looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And
I was just looking at Archer's eVTOLs. I'm not I don't like them that much. I do like Joby's better. They look more compact, but yeah.
well, it depends how many people you're trying to get in it. What's the one that they're called the Midnight? What's that one
Yeah,
look like?
midnight. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like a plane with a bunch of propellers on it.
The eVTOL market is expected to reach $1 trillion by 2024, according to industry analysts, driven by the growth demand.
2024?
Sorry, 2040. My bad.
I was gonna be
It's still early in the
yeah,
morning.
yeah. That's
Um,
crazy.
in addition, the adoption of air taxis is expected to create thousands of new jobs in the aviation tech infrastructure sectors, building vertiports about new air traffic management systems, training pilots and technicians. The
Yeah,
new form of transportation will spur economic growth in cities that embrace their technology.
love it.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Um, Go check out the article on torontostarts.com that this podcast is attached to, and check it out.
Yeah,
Are we ready to jump to this next one?
let's do it.
What was the next one? Oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
so apparently this week Anthropic released a bunch of things, including upgrades to Claude, Haiku, and Opus, and
Yeah.
not Opus, but the other one,
On it.
Sonnet. Sorry, and wow, I just got to get to that second coffee. And they also released AI model called Computer Use.
Yes. I haven't messed around with it yet, but I saw the demo, and this is cool but super friggin' scary. So, for those of you that don't know, and by the way, Anthropic, what the hell's with your naming conventions? This is a new functionality. Why are you calling it 3.5 Sonnet? I don't get it. But so their new upgraded 3.5 Sonnet is able to control computers. So this is interesting because it's able to so it's designed to perform tasks on a computer by interacting with the interface. What it can do is it can view the screen, it can move the cursor, it can click buttons and type text. And what the demo was showing was that it was getting Claude to open up a browser and go to a website and do something. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, apparently the capability it's facilitated through an API that translates user prompts into computer commands, which is scary, especially if you create malware, right? If you think about it from a malware perspective.
Yeah, it's scary completely because as soon as now, yeah, so what's the attack surface of the AI compared to a computer without AI?
Yeah, and what about that Microsoft Copilot integrated into Windows? Imagine how easy it could potentially be for someone to take over your computer when it's fully integrated into your laptop or into your operating system.
Yeah.
That scares me.
Especially when they can get, especially when they can get hacked so easily and access to recall the data that is there,
Yeah.
they're taking every 3 seconds of your machine and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Isn't this and just to go back to something we covered, isn't this what the Rabbit R1 was supposed to be doing? Essentially?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's super interesting. Like, I'm going to share this screen instead because I've been back and forth with Reuven Cohen a little bit about can AI actually reason and think, and I'm on the fence that it can't, and he's on the fence that it absolutely can, and we'll get into that later. But that's a different discussion. But
Yeah.
specifically, he's used the computer use capability, and it's spectacular. You can get it to do anything, like post on LinkedIn, log into websites, play games, design things in Photoshop, and watch my Ring doorbell, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
interesting concepts. Ruin's usually right on top of these things as soon as they come out. Unfortunately, with my schedule, I haven't had a chance, but I'm
I
excited
know.
to try it. I'm really
Yeah.
excited to try this.
There, there's something I wanted to build myself, which is not too difficult, but someone built it. Well, I don't want to build it myself, but something similar. But someone built, and it's only using computer vision. But so it is a camera that's outside that is attached to a paintball gun. So if it doesn't recognize your face, you have, I think, 10 seconds to walk away before it starts shooting paintballs at you.
You have
That's
10 seconds to comply.
yes, yeah, which I like. But so what I read was that there's companies like Canva and Replit that are already exploring its potential to streamline operations, such as filling out forms, browsing the web, and things like that.
I completely forgot Canva dropped their new AI yesterday as
Oh, did
well.
they?
Yeah, and I was
Ooh.
playing around with that. It's okay. Could use some work, but it's okay.
Can it do what Gamma.app can do, or not yet?
Well, hang on.
What's that?
I haven't asked to do that. Right now, they've just launched their thing, their image generator. So if you are a Canva subscriber or whatnot, you can go and now use its tool to text to AI images that are pretty good. Not great.
What do you know? What Gen AI or LLM it uses?
They bought a company that does their own. Back
Oh,
now they finally integrate it. I can't remember which
yeah.
model it is, but yeah.
Interesting.
We
Interesting.
can do a deep dive next time. I don't have
Yeah.
it up here, but I can load up Canva and show you some of the images it produced on which prompts and whatnot. But
Yeah.
that's not what we're talking about this morning. I'm just saying that we missed that AI news. So
So
AI
much
could,
AI news. Yeah.
yeah, it's all over. So you can go and download this thing on GitHub. But while AI computer control presents exciting opportunities, it's essential to compare the performance of agents like Cloud AI with human operators. So, one, will this be able to fuel? CAPTCHA is now going, not necessarily those click on those things, but it detects stuff in the background to determine,
Yeah.
are you a robot or not? So the question becomes, will it bypass those detections? I'm curious.
Yeah. Can it mimic those detections? Can it? Can it? Yeah.
And OpenAI GPT-4, you can put GPTs that do some of these things, but not what we're doing here. And
Yeah.
SWE Bench is a key for evaluating software development skills to compare the two. But that's talking about getting it to code and whatnot. So Claude AI still has limitations, particularly in handle tasks that require long-term planning or adaptive
Yeah.
problem solving. So when you can't go too far ahead when you're telling it to do stuff. Like what I've seen from the videos is you can say, okay, go open Firefox, go to this web page and find this playlist or find this thing. And
Yeah.
it does that okay. But I think if you get too complicated in there,
Okay.
but
Yeah, so the other example I saw it do was it created a website and then fixed the bugs on the website itself. So
yeah,
opened up a browser, coded it, launched it, and then went through and fixed the code.
I could see how that works pretty good. I didn't see that one, but I use that use case all the time
Yeah,
where I'm working on something, I get an error, I cut and paste the error, or I take a screenshot of the error, throw it into what I'm working with. Like I usually have ChatGTP open on my side as my advisor for stuff when I don't know what I'm doing.
yeah,
um,
yeah.
and say, okay, what's this? What's that? I was, and it comes back and say, oh, it looks like you're having a problem with this or that, and it helps me. But it'd be nice for it to automatically be able to say, okay, here's the code. Oh, I see, I can see the problems. Let me go fix it automatically,
Mhm.
rather than me having to be that person that is, hey, it looks like this now. Hey, it looks like this. For example, when I was using latex to get open, ChatGTP will I had written down workflows. You can say, okay, now write this in latex code, and it'll write
Hmm.
that in latex, which is the diagramming.
Okay.
And I throw that in, I think it was OpenLeaf, which reads latex and will output those graphics that I was kind of sending around, those
Yeah,
logic diagrams. And I just take that output and throw it back in and say, yeah, it looks like this. Oh, and let me fix it. And because sometimes it's off the page or it's too crowded or whatever, 2 or 3 of those and it fixes it. But if it could do it automatically, that becomes way more powerful.
for
And,
sure.
we talk about user data and scraping and all that a lot. And tools like this now, like, it sounds like you can scrape anything, because
Yeah,
now I can say, hey, go open up LinkedIn, go search for people with this, blah, 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 blah. Then, for the ones I'm not connected to, click on connect, send a message, whatever, or get their details and put it in a spreadsheet so I can, there's 1,000 things you can do at that point, right?
yeah. I'm curious now that you're talking about this. I wonder if it can code in like archaic languages like Cobalt or assembly. Well, assembly's not archaic, but like I'm
Maybe.
curious.
I know
I'm gonna
that
test that out one day. Yeah.
it's not a bad idea. I know that with ChatGTP, it can do JavaScript, it can do a C++, it can do, like, there's 6 or so languages it can do, and you can switch between them. You can say, okay, now put this in
Cool.
Python. Now put
Yeah.
this in,
Yeah.
and under Canvas, you can tell it to fix its own code, document its own
Yeah.
code, and it's pretty good. But I'm finding the limitations of Canvas. It's not great.
Yeah.
It says
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't
it
really
says it
messed around
does
with it.
stuff, but it doesn't do stuff. Like,
Okay.
it'll, like, we'd say, "Oh, what about this? What about that? Oh, let me update I've updated your document with all this information." It's like, "No, you haven't. You just said you did, but you haven't done anything."
Oh, that's funny.
Because I'm looking right at it. It says, "Yes, I did." It's like, "Oh, okay." So I cut and paste that into a new canvas, like my document, copy and
Yeah.
paste, and then go back and tell it what it was supposed to do, and then it goes ahead and does it. But
Yeah.
it's sometimes it cuts off half the thing because it's losing context or something. It's just, if you're working with it on stuff you really are, that's important to you from a document point of view. I can't say the same for code because I don't work a lot in long code. um it's going to frustrate you and you're going to lose stuff,
Yeah.
period. You got a
Hmm.
nice document, you put it in there, or you get it to create it. Make sure you copy it before you get it to edit, because all of a sudden you say add this thing, and then half the document's gone, and it'll tell you no, it's all there.
Yeah.
So, but I do,
Crazy.
you know, working with this. I'm curious about working with this, but with ChatGTP, and we were talking about, I was using Google Notebook LM as kind of a guru for a bit. The problem with Notebook LM is you can only give it very small prompts. Um,
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
I have it open in a tab, and I never messed around with it yet. So
so I was trying that, saying, all right, let's load up very specific documents, the manuals, all the PDFs, and 2 or 3 really detailed videos on how to use this specific technical product.
yeah.
Um, in Google LM, and then I'm saying, okay, you're my guru on this subject because I'm implementing this new technology and I want to use these tools. So help me when I'm stuck. But the
Yeah.
problem is, you get stuck. You can't put the error in because it's too big. You can't. there's a lot of things you can't do because it's too big. And so it's like, all right, you're very limited in functionality, because it'd really be nice.
So its
Then I have
context
this.
window is really small.
Well, the window you're allowed to give it. Maybe if
Okay.
I attached a different document and said use this document, but I don't know. But like the prompt window you can give it, it can give you back some good stuff. But like literally how much information I can tell it in the prompt window is really small, which is a problem, because I'm saying here's the error, and if the error is more than say 5 lines, it won't take it.
Yeah. Oh, the other one we didn't cover, and we can cover it next time, is these advanced language or whatever it's called, so that you can interact with it. So OpenAI released it, Gemini released it, so you can
You're
talk,
not
and it's
you're
like,
not talking the meta prompts, are you?
no,
Okay.
no. Why is it? Oh yeah, we're covering that too, aren't we?
Well, I don't think so.
No.
I looked into it and I made some comments on the
Oh, okay.
all right.
Yeah, no. No, but there's so the advanced. Anyways, I'll think about it. We'll talk about it next
All
time.
right. So this is groundbreaking. I suggest everybody go out and try it. This is exciting. I'm really interested in hopefully you'll try it too. We'll give some feedback, because
Yeah,
if it works, it might not be super fast, but all of a sudden now you can have prompts, you can talk to, you can have it do step 1, step 2, step 3
yeah,
of stuff. Like I was about to go out and buy Keyboard Maestro again so that I could automate some features on my Mac to do certain things, like click here, open this app, do this, which other things don't do. But all of a sudden, maybe I don't need that.
yeah.
Any last words on this one?
No, I'm excited to play around with this one. So this will be fun.
Now, we talked about something like this before.
We did, and I can't remember what we had talked about. I think it was. It's gonna bug me now. Jesus, we need to.
I have a
I
list.
think.
I have the topic somewhere. Don't
Yeah,
worry. I have a spreadsheet with all of the
yeah.
stuff. You just never look at it.
There was there was something that yeah. Anyways, this is about beaming power down from space, which I am scared of, because the way to do that, obviously, okay, so obviously you're getting, when you're harvesting the sun in space, you don't have the atmosphere, you don't have all these things, so I think it's like 13 times more efficient, which is huge, 13 times greater solar power. But beaming the energy down means you have to convert it into high frequency radio waves, which is like, so if you have birds that are flying around, they fly through this high energy field, they're going to get fried.
Absolutely. And what we looked at before was the reflector arrays that would beam sunlight down to solar panels on Earth. This is actually beaming direct energy, not just
Yeah,
reflecting light.
that's right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
go ahead.
go ahead.
So this is interesting because I'm very interested to see how this works, because this uninterrupted access to solar energy gives SB a unique advantage. I'm not SB. I'm trying to remember what that stands for. A
Space-based solar power. Space-based solar power.
Space-based solar power. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
A unique advantage, offering a potential of continuous, reliable source for renewable energy, which is true. If you're beaming
Yeah.
the energy down from space, and they're getting solar power, which is going to be way more, ideally generate way more, because it's got less interference, more direct, less filters. This is interesting, but beaming power down, you're talking about, what does it do to the birds? What does it do to the environment?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, sure. You know what would make more sense than doing that is just run a really long cable from space down to Earth. That to me would make more sense than trying to beam this energy using high frequency radio waves. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've developed something that's safe, but how can you?
Yeah, I'm fast forward to today. Early prototypes were proposed by scientists like Peter Glassler in the 1940s, but the technology and costs were far from feasible. Fast forward today, we are witnessing space-based solar power making significant strides. Countries like Japan, China, and United States are investing heavily into these projects. For instance, Caltech Maple experiment successfully demonstrated wireless energy transfer in space, bringing us one step closer to realizing this vision. Unlike traditional rigid solar panels, Maple use flexible, lightweight structures, showing that we can now start to think beyond what was once possible.
For sure. I think so. Obviously, harvesting the sun's power in space is smart because you're getting way more efficiency. But getting that power down to Earth needs a lot of work, and there's so much safety. I'm not an expert in the field, obviously. I'm not an expert in radio waves. I do have a good understanding of them. But based on my understanding, this scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, China's also making they're planning to be the first nation to launch a space-based solar powered station that can transmit energy to Earth by 2035. Just so you know. And let's go on to talk about this article over here is on torontostarts.com, just in case you wanted to go check it out yourself. So let's talk about challenges and risks. But the microwave energy transmission process, while microwaves themselves are safe, the construction of large rectennas on Earth could require significant land use, particularly near densely populated areas. This raises concerns about the feasibility of placing these receiving stations without disrupting local ecosystems and communities.
Okay. So they're using microwaves. So
they say it's
maybe
safe, but I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine. They also say
I want to see the data behind that. I don't trust this. Just based on history and things like that. So I'm very skeptical about this. But
they also say living near power lines is safe, but I think there's a lot of potential evidence to say to the otherwise.
For sure. Yeah. Well, please don't tell me that you think 5G caused COVID.
No, but I don't necessarily want a 5G amplifier in my house.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it's doing to my DNA and brain because they haven't tested it. I don't think it caused any. Well, I don't think it caused any major diseases. I can't say it hasn't hurt any individual person. They don't test these things from a radiation point of view, and I don't know if I want this stuff next to my head until they test it properly. That's all I'm saying. You put your phone up here and and your transmitter in your house. These millimeter waves at what amplitude that are frying your brain as the signal goes through it, or maybe not.
Never mind. I went to CES one year,
a
couple years ago, and they had this wireless power inside the house.
Yes.
So in the room, wherever you had to be in a certain spot in the room. Actually, no, I think you could be anywhere in the room. Your devices would be charging wirelessly. I don't want that.
Yeah, so the question becomes now, are we going to get a mixture of this and nuclear? Like when communities or companies are adopting and being able to buy nuclear, couldn't Toronto just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm sorry about that, I'll have to cut that out. We're just going to buy a portable nuke or build nuclear rather than this?
I don't know. Speaking of your the bleep there is, I sent you one where you can go through the video, type in the words you want it to bleep out, and it'll automatically bleep out those words for you.
Yeah, I think I'm not 100% sure, but Treble should be able to cover that for me, which is the software used by Armel, a great Canadian founder. So go over to torontostarts.com and check this one out because it's super interesting.
Yeah, this one's really interesting. Yeah.
All right, what's the next one? Oh, Qualcomm.
Whoa. This is so. This is crazy. I don't know what happened. Obviously, Qualcomm is wanting to take over Intel. There's talks about this, but this is put it under like hit hit has hit the fan. So Qualcomm and ARMS Holdings have issued a 60-day, or sorry, ARM Holdings has issued a 60-day notice to Qualcomm, signaling its intent to cancel the license that allows Qualcomm to design chips using ARM's IP. That's crazy. Go ahead.
So yeah, I will go through this. We'll have to see what the impact is, right? Like it's crazy because considering, everybody's using the Snapdragon processor and the Intel and this and that. Sorry, Intel and Microsoft's new Copilot run
Yeah,
super laptops and whatnot. So there's a lot of hype around these processors. So Qualcomm apparently acquisition of Nuvia back in 2021 set the stage for this legal battle. Nuvia, a startup focused on ARM-based high-performance chip, was purchased by Qualcomm to strengthen its position in the laptop server market. However, ARM argues that this acquisition violated the terms of their licensing agreement, prompting them to seek cancellation of Qualcomm's rights to use their technology. So, this legal dispute could have major implications for the tech industry. If Qualcomm loses, it may be forced to destroy the designs developed by Nuvia, which would disrupt development of key products like Snapdragon processors. This is a critical moment for Qualcomm, as losing the ARM license could open the door for competitors like Apple, AMD, and NVIDIA to dominate their own architectures.
yeah. So apparently, the products that I don't know if you said this, I might have missed it, generates 39 billion in revenue for Qualcomm.
No, I haven't. I did not
Okay.
mention that yet, but
Yeah. So yeah, if they cancel, if this license is canceled, then like Jesus. So could this legal battle end in 60 days? Like, could everything? I don't think so.
I think with that kind of money on the line, I don't think any judge is going to make a quick decision.
No.
Because they'll have to say, all right, let's go back and forth. Can we settle? Can we this?
Yeah.
Can we that? Can we, pay a
Unless there's
penalty?
something clear cut
Yeah.
in the agreements that the judge can say, listen, this is clearly right here. You have to do this, this, and this. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
So let's look at this for a second. The possible scenarios after losing ARM's license. So what's next for Qualcomm? If Qualcomm loses legal battle with ARM, the company will need to act quickly to avoid falling behind. One option is to shift to RISC-V, an open source architecture that is gaining traction in the industry. While
I like
RISC-V
Crispy.
it offers flexibility and cost savings, it would require Qualcomm to redesign its products from the ground up. Another possibility is for Qualcomm to negotiate a new licensing agreement with ARM, though this could come at a much higher cost given ARM's position and strength. Um, Qualcomm maybe have limited leverage with these negotiations. Alternatively, the acquisition of Intel could provide Qualcomm with the tools it needs to remain competitive, but this option also carries significant risk. So while this legal battle is starting to go on, Qualcomm's, we talked about this briefly, Intel's been struggling, and Qualcomm's
Hmm.
been looking at them saying, "Hey, we're thinking about buying you. Let's have a chat." And this is, might be a defensive mechanism because if ARM shuts them off and they can't negotiate a license, they need something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is scary, and could have ripple effects across the entire industry.
Yeah, and so this could the potential acquisition will allow Qualcomm to pivot from ARM-based to Intel's x86 architecture, which has long dominated laptop markets. But Intel's also got their new ARM-based processors, but I don't know, are they licensing it? Would they, if they bought Intel, could they produce products under that licensing agreement that's
I
different?
doubt
Like,
it.
you
I
know,
think that ARM would, if here's what I think, based on what they just did. If they buy Intel, then I think ARM will cancel Intel's licensing.
potentially. So
Okay.
there's two things here. We were also talking about the demise of Intel. People were talking about breaking it up. Like one is the chip fab, so Intel can outsource chip fabbing to anybody,
Yeah.
or do chip fabbing for anyone. and the other thing was the actual IP related to the chips and stuff. So
Yeah.
you could see a point where Qualcomm just says, all right, now we own you, or a big percentage of you, Intel. But we don't have to, we're not changing you at all. We're not doing this, but you're now designing our chips too
Yeah.
with us, kind of thing. So, you know, I could see this happening, but this is the impact of Qualcomm losing ARM would not just be felt by Qualcomm, obviously, but by Samsung, Xiaomi.
Xiaomi. Yeah.
Thank you. Qualcomm Snapdragon processors for their flagship devices. So, and we've seen a lot of other in Microsoft-based laptops and whatever starting to flag this. They're a whole new generation. So, this is a big concern people should be aware of,
Agreed.
and just be following it. And we'll make a note of this and make sure that we let you know what's happening.
For sure. Yeah.
All right, what's the next one?
Watermarking.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. So Google has released applied for a patent, and I don't know if they applied for a patent, but I think they have. Sorry, let me. They've introduced Google Synth ID and an AI text watermark technology.
Yeah.
So this Synth ID is an AI text watermark technology. So they're pushing forward this solution so that anything created by AI will have a watermark and be super easily detectable. So on the surface, this is interesting and potentially cool, but at the same time, I sit back and say, okay, does this are we going to see an end of AI content creation as a result of this watermarking?
No, I don't think we're going to see an end to it. I just think it's going to be easier to detect it. So it's not just text; it's going to be images, audio, video, everything like that. And the cool thing is that with the images and video, the watermark is going to be embedded in the pixels or the frames, so it won't compromise visual quality. Um, and then with audio, the watermark is going to be added to the spectrogram during conversion from waveform to ensure it remains inaudible. So I think this is interesting. I'm not surprised that we're going this way. They are making this open source, I think, so that anyone can integrate it. But how reliable is it? And again, I'm sure people will find workarounds.
Absolutely. Right now, can watermarks be removed? While AI watermarks can withstand minor paraphrasing and editing, heavy alterations or translations can make detection harder though complete removal is difficult.
Yeah,
Um, so, we'll see. Like just seems like DRM all over again.
yeah, yeah. And the challenges that they had with DRM is, well, I'm sure they'll be even worse with this. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I can just see as soon as we understand what the watermarking is, that we'll just have tools that run the image upscaling or downscaling that'll just remove them.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'll be interested. I'm interested to see how people are going to circumvent this once it gets integrated. That's what I'm excited for, not for this. I don't care if there's watermarks, but I'm more excited to see how people are going to circumvent it.
Yeah, and I guess if there's watermarks like on deep fakes and AI generated misinformation again,
That's good. That's a good. Yeah, that's a good thing.
but I don't like the word misinformation because we've been through this so many times where today's misinformation is tomorrow's truth. So
Yeah,
we have to be open-minded when we're talking about um this kind of stuff, because that word gets thrown around so much right now. um but yeah, I agree. I don't mind the fact that AI watermarks on this stuff. The question becomes is, at what point do things like, I don't know, let's just say Canva or tools or social media sites just say, oh, if this is AI watermark on it, we're not accepting it.
yeah, they could do that too. Yeah,
So it's just one of those things, or it'll automatically flag this as AI created content as a result of the post, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
So we're moving, and I'm hesitant about this because once it's implemented properly, I'll be okay. But you know how these things are, a rocky road until that
For sure.
happens. So you just sit back and say, what weird crap is going to happen along the way? That's going to make all the controversies and make this go up and down, like, Microsoft's recall. Oh, they announced it, then they got wicked backlash, and they said, okay, we're gonna not make it mandatory. We're gonna allow you to disable it. And then they came out and said, no, that was a mistake. We didn't mean to say we were gonna allow you to disable it, but that was a quieter statement. And then it's mandatory now. If you're running Windows 11 now, you're running it on your machine. If you've updated in the second half of 2024. Microsoft Recall is running on your machine. It's mandatory. It's part of Spotlight, or it's not Spotlight on Spotlight on Mac. What is the equivalent of Windows?
Anyway, I don't know.
The file manager. It's part of the system now. So you look at that and you say, all right, this is going to implement all these things, but now what happens as a result of that?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So anything new and exciting, John?
No, I'm loving this staying home and not doing anything. So, but I've got some personal things coming up, so it'll be busy in the next few weeks. How about you?
I'm just lots of work stuff, lots of cool stuff happening with different projects I'm working on. The course that's going to start your own business in a weekend is happening at the end of November, and November 14th is our next Startup Investor Drinks.
Yeah, same night as the Taylor Swift concert. So get there. Come before the concert. Come after the concert. Well, maybe not after; it'll be done. But come before the concert.
Definitely think about taking public transport
and bring your kids. I think can they bring?
Not to Startup Investor Drinks.
Oh, sorry. Okay, no. Bring your kids if they're 19 and older.
Thank you. All our other events that don't involve drinking, you can bring your kids as long as they're, behaved and interested.
Yeah.
Because people are there to see the speakers and whatnot. So thank you everyone for watching. And if you're looking for non-dilutive funding, where should they find you, John?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn, John Irwin. Very easy, no H. Reach out to me. I'll send you my Calendly, and you can schedule a call.
And most of the non-dilutive funding comes to people have how many employees?
Typically at least 2, but ideally 5 to 10, and some revenue and incorporated for at least 2 years is ideal.
Perfect. Just one word advice for everyone for you. Reach out, take a look at those qualifications, and then reach out to John all you want. Thanks, John, and thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Craig.